Man, I'm tired of this shit.
Dude, I was listening to that. Leave it alone.
This is absolute trash.
I don't care. Driver picks the station. Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
Passenger gets first dibs on everything. I have my finger on the button.
You know what? You want to fight about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
fuck
fine.
you.
Hey,
Fuck
man,
you.
leave it alone.
No.
It's mine.
Turn your trash off. Now look what you did.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dissonant Harmonics podcast. My name is Frostier.
And according to my PlayStation, my name is Waffle Iron 12.
Is that really your gamer tag?
No, it's the name of my console. I changed it to Waffle Iron 12.
Why? I understand, but tell us the reason.
Because I had the option to change the name of the console, just like how my 360 that sits up here, its name is the Sex Box.
That's so awesome on so many levels.
So every console gets its own unique, not generic name. But no, my gamer tag is very unoriginal. It's JFits-Fits.
Yeah, sometimes simple is best.
It's better than Xbox making you pay to change it.
Right. So, well, actually, believe it or not, this week won't be completely boring. We don't really have much of a topic because we didn't really get into it, except for I might complain a little bit because I'm cranky about...
We actually have news!
There's news and there's album reviews. The albums are finally starting to come out. We're past the dry season. I think next year we might just take January off because January is so boring. Nothing happens.
It's either that or we should do a... the original idea that we were kind of toiling around with is maybe doing more deep dive informational episodes during the slow seasons.
Yeah, because, January sucks. January's rough. There's no tours.
Do you guys want an entire deep dive episode about sleep and how they blew all their advancement money on weed and amplifiers, then said, oh shit, we didn't record anything?
Yeah. Wait, what happened?
Find out next time.
Uh-huh. Anyway, do you want to start the news or should I start the news? Where would you like to start the news? By the way, I got one piece of news that I forgot to mention that we can talk about towards the end, so I'm going to save the news towards the end.
I have one that I'm going to jump in there with real quick after all that. So why don't you go ahead and tell the folks what Veil of Maya said.
Oh, I forgot about Veil of Maya.
It's going to be that's going to be a short blip, but I have a hunch.
Yeah, we both do. We both have a hunch.
My hunch is better.
The nice thing about having two hosts is if one of us doesn't catch all the music news that's happened in the past week or two, the other one can do it for them. So I have a lot of the news stories, and then Josh comes in with the stuff that I actually give a crap about because apparently I forget all the big topics. Long story short,
halves of the whole idiot.
So Veil of Maya made a post of just a picture of a black screen with text and the Veil of Maya V, and it says, yes, we will be back. AKA the screen might as well said, loading, please wait. And someone made a comment. Yeah, someone made the comment to the effect of basically asking a very basic question of what's the story, what's going on, or what kind of Veil of Maya. And Marco Kubo, who, as you know, is the mastermind, primary songwriter, and guitarist for Veil of Maya, wrote back, the Veil of Maya coming back will be the, quote, heavy version. Josh and I both have opinions on this.
Did you tell everybody who Mark is playing with right now?
Oh, I forgot who Mark's playing with right now. I know who Mark's playing with right now, but it's escaping my brain.
He's playing with Falling in Reverse.
Right. He is playing guitar for Falling in Reverse. And is Luke Holland still on drums?
That's an excellent question. Let me get back to you on that.
Because, so you know the connection between Luke Holland, Jason Richardson, and Veil of Maya, right? No? Maybe?
Maybe.
So Luke Holland and Jason Richardson have been best friends for a really long time. And
oh, yeah, because Jason Richardson's second album has Luke Holland on drums, right?
Yeah, but not only that, but before that, they were actually friends when they were kids, as was Danny Hauser, the bassist from Veil of Maya. So Jason Richardson, Danny Hauser, and Luke Holland have all kind of been in this like ever circling progressive like best friendship for a long time. And the fact that Luke Holland and Marco Kubo are now playing for Falling in Reverse kind of tells me that, as weird as that might sound, Falling in Reverse might be pulled into like the progressive Veil of Maya camp, which is kind of funny. So yeah, for those of you that like, here's another way to put it. If you
Yes,
don't
Luke
know,
Holland is also currently playing drums with Falling in Reverse. The only members they have listed right now are obviously Ronnie, Christian Thompson on rhythm guitar, Tyler Burgess on bass, and Luke Holland on drums. So I don't see Mark on here, but he might just be like a last choice pick for
yeah.
jumping in there and doing the tour with them.
But we do know that he is touring with them and playing with them. That's not disputed.
Yes.
So yeah, there's this weird like family circuit of bands between Falling in Reverse and Veil of Maya and Jason Richardson and All That Remains. Kind of in the same way that if you know anything about early 2000s, mid 2000s rock, Creed and Seven Dust are basically responsible for most of the bands that came out in that time, like Dark New Day, I Empire, Projected, Creed, Alter Bridge, Like a Storm. They're all somehow connected either by Creed or Seven Dust or both. So there's this weird like family tree of bands that start off with Creed and Seven Dust and then branch out from there.
You know what Veil of Maya actually means?
I don't. Actually, I have no idea. I didn't even know what Maya is.
Veil of Maya refers to the concept of illusion in Hindu philosophy that obscures true spiritual knowledge and understanding. Just so you're aware.
Fun. What's
yes,
next?
so
Oh,
Mark talked about how the version that's going to be coming back is the heavier version. So we have our ideas on what that could possibly mean, because Lucas Magyar, however you pronounce his name, I don't know if he is on hiatus from the band or if he has actually left the band.
That's kind of been the question since the hiatus started, because the hiatus started and a bunch of people on Reddit kind of started going back and forth, and there were rumors that kind of like Lucas wasn't happy or Mark wasn't happy, and it all kind of centered around Lucas to some degree or another. So there's been talks of Lucas either being gone from the band or the hiatus being because of Lucas. It's all a vocalist issue.
Right. So our only thought process, if this is going to come back to being heavier, is that, I do enjoy Lucas, but I feel like he's made Veil of Maya become essentially Periphery 2.0.
Agreed.
So,
but I like them better. I like Veil of Maya better than Periphery.
Veil of Maya is better than Periphery because at least they're not just trying to make jokes.
Right.
My thought is that either Adam is going to come back on vocals or Brandon is going to come back on vocals, because Adam Clements is the original vocalist from 2004 to 7, then Brandon was on vocals from 7 to 14. And, we all know about Brandon. Adam's more obscure. I'm not sure if he's doing anything, but I know that Brandon left.
Based on the way that Brandon left and the way he left, which the quick synopsis, he literally at least said he quit because the bus was always messy and it drove him nuts, and he literally moved up to Seattle, which is where I live. Never seen the guy in person. But
Chris Barnes also apparently, I think, lives in Seattle.
But with that being said, when someone leaves because the bus is too messy, it just tells me at least that they aren't cut out for the touring mentality or lifestyle. So I have a higher probability that one of two things is going to happen. I actually think of these three possibilities, Brandon is the least possible. Adam comes back, or they keep Lucas and they just do a super heavy version where Lucas is just screaming the whole time. Because Lucas hasn't done that yet. Lucas, literally when he came into Veil of Maya is when they started sounding exactly like Periphery on Matriarch.
Yeah, that's right, because Matriarch was heavier, but it wasn't as heavy as Subject Zero, the single that they came out with Brandon before that album came out.
Yeah, so there is a giant possibility that they still keep Lucas, but it's just heavier than all hell.
I don't know if Lucas can do it, but
all right.
We'll see.
You've heard that guy's vocals. He can handle heavy.
He can, but will he want to? Is going to be the question. So yeah, the astounding revelation to this is we don't know.
Right. But yeah, we don't know, but we'll find out eventually. Someone will find out.
All right, for all you old school metal fans who love a good story, let me paint you the picture here. Let's all sit down, light up your blunt, and throw on some Dope Smoker because their drummer got fired.
Right.
And no, it wasn't because he was high on the job. Fraser's not laughing. That was meant to be funny.
Sorry.
So, no, you're not. So, Jason Roeder was on drums with Sleep from 2010 to 19, then 2022 to 2024. I'm not sure what happened with Chris Hackius or Hackius. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. But Jason Roeder was also the drummer of the band Neurosis.
Right.
If you don't know Neurosis, they're hard to listen to. Their singer Scott Kelly got into a little bit of trouble, domestic violence charges, so he essentially ended Neurosis unceremoniously because the guy's a piece of shit. But Jason Roeder was on drums for both Neurosis and Sleep.
Okay.
All of a sudden, Jason has popped up as trying to sell off a bunch of his old collectible records from Sleep and a bunch of other bands, trying to get money because he does not have a job anymore.
Oops.
As he revealed, I think in November, that he was fired by not the band, but the band's manager over the phone.
That's happened before. Shinedown fired Jason Todd that way. He didn't get a call or email from the band. He got a call or email from the management.
Yeah. So he had made some kind of cryptic posts about not doing music anymore. But on January 26th, he announced his retirement as a touring musician, saying, "I'm no longer a touring musician, so I'll be selling off possibly all of my equipment and belongings." Kind of like what OTEP's singer was doing too. For like the third time she's done it. But he said along with his change his Instagram biography to say, "I used to go on stage and pretend I was supposed to be there." Now he's revealed that he was unceremoniously fired from Sleep without any sort of indication as to why he was being fired. It was just basically a thank you for your time, thank you for your work, but we will no longer be working with you.
Right.
So he did three albums or 3 songs with them. I'm not entirely sure. I need to go into a deeper dive on him and kind of see what's going on with him. But he's performed with Sleep many, many times.
Right.
But yes, so if you don't know Sleep, which I don't think Fraser knows,
Nope.
Sleep is basically a what weed sounds like. And like I said, if we do a deep dive episode on any band, I think we should do it on Sleep because their story can be fucking hilarious at times. Like I said, they got an advancement to do the album Dope Smoker. They got X amount of money for an advance to start recording the album for the label.
Mm-hmm.
They blew it all on weed and amplifiers. And then the label came back a few weeks later and said, "Hey, we want to hear some of the stuff that you guys have been working on so we can kind of get a feel for it." And they're like,
About that.
"We'll get right back with you on that one," and had to sell a bunch of amplifiers and a bunch of weed and get some of the money back to start recording it. So the story is that that's why Dope Smoker as an album is one 1-hour song.
Jeez.
Because they had enough money to try and record one take of everything. I think it's been disputed by some of the people in the band and some of the people in the industry, but that's the story that everybody likes to go with.
So moving on, we have, these are kind of quick little tidbits. Obviously, if you don't know, Nirvana got back together this last weekend to do Fire Aid and had a bunch of different celebrity singers come in and sing for them, including Joan Jett.
Joan Jett's actually done a lot with the members of Nirvana.
Yeah. In other news, Sum 41 has officially played their last show in Toronto.
Did you say who else sang with Nirvana?
I know Dave Grohl's daughter did.
Yes, that was the big surprise. I think the big surprise is that Dave Grohl actually showed up because Foo Fighters hasn't been doing jack shit.
Well, but this was for a charity event, so that makes sense. I mean, they even have, I don't know if they're old photos, stock photos, but I have seen plenty of photos of Dave Grohl out cooking food and helping with aid for the LA fires, despite some of his current PR issues.
Right. So yeah, they had a bunch of other people come out, but I think the big thing was that I think the end of the show is where they brought out Violet Grohl to do vocals on that song. What song it was, I don't remember. I want to say it was All Apologies.
I honestly don't know.
Okay, well,
I
we're
just,
not going to
I
get back
just
to you
saw
guys
that
on
it
that.
was just a quick tidbit. Like, hey, we saw that. Hey, they're playing. Sum 41 obviously has officially called it. They're done. Played their last show in Toronto. They are officially retired. We'll see how long that lasts. Not because I'm cynical about Sum 41, but because every band does this at this point, and it's kind of getting old. I'm assuming they'll do one-off shows here and there, but no biggie.
It'll just be on what Derek wants to do with it.
Yeah. Guess who's back? Back again.
Back again.
Who is
Guess
it?
who's back? Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, you. Who is it? We know
Only
who's
the
back.
best band that came out of the 90s.
You are lying through your frickin' teeth.
Joke's on you. I don't have any teeth. La, 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 la. No, Spineshank has not only come back, but with a new revamped lineup. And revamped,
the only person
I mean,
left.
there's only
the only-
two different members.
Yeah, there's only two different members. I thought the only person left was the lead singer.
No, Johnny Santos is still on vocals, but Tommy Decker's on drums and Robert Garcia's on bass. But the new members are Tommy Decker Jr. on guitar, and Jason Hager from Chimera is on guitar.
So basically, in other words, they got rid of the original songwriting crew because most of the time, now that's not me being literal. That's me being speculative. 9 times out of 10, the guitar players are the primary songwriters in a group. So I
want to say that Johnny actually does write the songs because he's had Silent Civilian after Spineshank called it quits.
Oh, that's fair.
Does sound like Spineshank 2.0.
So maybe Johnny's the primary songwriter on that one. So Spineshank's back. No music has been talked about yet. Speaking of new music, Matt Tuck has also said that 13 songs are ready for the new Bullet for a Valentine album.
Boo!
Which is odd because, lately, maybe it's just my YouTube algorithm, but in the past couple weeks, all I've gotten is stuff about Moose kind of letting loose on why he left Bullet for a Valentine or was kicked out, and same with Jay. So I don't know, maybe they're kind of, and also they're on the Ascendancy Poison tour with Trivium, which is massive as it is. They've been doing a lot of PR stuff for that. Like every day, especially for the Bullet for a Valentine camp, almost every day I'm getting a YouTube video recommendation from Bullet for a Valentine's channel, and it's like them sitting around with the guys in Trivium talking about old times and stuff like that.
I mean, you're touring on arguably Bullet's biggest album.
And it's not arguably. It is Bullet's biggest album.
And yeah, I guess it is bigger than Screaming Fire. Screaming Fire is still my best one, but and then with Trivium, it's kind of the same thing. Ascendancy is what really like launched them up into the fucking atmosphere.
Agreed.
And then, they put out Crusade and everybody got mad at them.
Right.
But I mean, they might as well just call it the Matt and Matt tour.
Yeah. Eminem.
Double Matt. But I'm interested to see what this is going to be like because Matt Tuck was posting pictures using a 7-string guitar, which, in my opinion, Matt's only going to use 3 of those 7 strings.
Yeah.
And make a pop rock album. But Moose and Jay have both said that essentially why they left Bullet was because they were getting frustrated because they were trying to increasingly make poppier music.
Well, also Jay in this last interview was with Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold. It was on his podcast. And I'll say this to be frank, you can watch Jay. He's very coy about the whole thing. Like he's trying to like get around the question a little bit and not like he's trying to play dumb. Like Johnny straight up says, look, I know there's some stuff that you can't talk about.
Right.
And Jay very much, you can tell he's trying to formulate his words so that he doesn't get lawsuited. But he goes, yeah, basically the reason I was fired is I was told that I was partying and drinking too much. And he goes, but the problem was is that we were all drinking and partying. But apparently my partying was too much.
What's interesting, though, is that when he originally left the band, he had said that he was done touring. He didn't want to tour anymore because his daughter was still really young. And I think his daughter had some sort of health condition where it was making it harder for him to be on tour for so long.
But he was
they
fired.
brought in.
He did say this.
Yeah.
He said he was fired. He did not quit. He was let go.
I can't remember if Moose was fired because I think Moose was the first to go, wasn't he?
Actually, I have the YouTube video right here. I'll tell you what the title says. Moose discusses his departure. So it doesn't say whether or not he was fired. Hold on.
Fact check me if I'm wrong, but I want to say Moose was the first to go. Moose is the drummer of Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah,
one
that's
of the original,
correct. Yeah.
One of the original members. Well, maybe not everybody knows. I know.
Also, there is a thing here. Moose was talking about. Moose is talking about the fact that. So right here, I have like a quick little synopsis of it. It does say that that basically Matt didn't want to do heavy metal anymore, and that's one of the main reasons Moose left. So Moose did. Sounds like Moose may have left on his own accord because they weren't as heavy as he wanted them to be, and Matt didn't want to do heavy metal anymore.
Because that's what I remember reading about it with. Because Moose was very vocal about him leaving the band,
right?
And had stated that when they started recording and demoing out what was going to be the next album, he was getting increasingly frustrated with the fact that they weren't doing heavier music anymore.
Right.
And said that basically Matt Tuck was just writing pop music.
Right. And that's what scares me, like you said, about the 7-string thing. Because he basically ripped off Passenger from Deftones on the Gravity album.
I think we can all agree that Gravity was not good.
Well, I liked some songs on Gravity, and I liked the style of it, but I didn't like it for Bullet for a Valentine. And like I said, I can't remember what song it is. It might be the song Gravity itself. But one of the songs, the intro, straight up was Passenger from frickin' White Pony.
I mean, to be fair, Deftones are arguably a better band.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, on to the next bit of news. Do you have anything else?
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Bullet for My Valentine here. Go ahead and jump on the next one. I'm not saying you're wrong with anything, but yeah, no. Okay, so here it is. They said that announced that they're in the studio and that they're hoping to have this album out this year already.
Right.
But I don't know. I lost track of Bullet for My Valentine after Venom came out.
Yeah.
Because Venom was there, we're going back to our heavier sound, and then Venom comes out and it's like it's good, but then Gravity came out and it's like, oh wow, okay, we're right back on this pop train.
Right.
I want to say Jason Bold was from Axe Wound, the other band that Matt Tuck did for like a minute. The drummer they have now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I want to say that when Moose left, they had some touring drummers, but I think that they brought on that drummer from Axe Wound, which I'd love to see Axe Wound do another album, but it's probably never going to happen, honestly.
No, Matt doesn't want to do heavy metal.
I mean, you can argue that was more of like a hardcore album because they had Cancer Bat's vocalist.
Right.
Fucking Jason Bold was from Pitch Shifter.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much. Oh, that and obviously Bring Me the Horizon decided to tell everybody. By the way, here's Wonderwall, and that's pretty much all I got for news. Oh, I got one more. Oh man,
you forgot what Liam Gallagher said about it.
Oh my gosh, how is it that Liam Gallagher loves it? How?
I want to go back to the time where this timeline has skewed into the shittier version of 2025. This all our problems started when David Bowie died. We all know that. I don't care about Harambe. I'm saying that when David Bowie died, we started a new timeline where anything that could happen, that's shitty, could happen. To the point now where Liam Gallagher, the singer of Oasis, who notoriously hates the song Wonderwall because...
And hates everything. And hates everything and everyone.
He hates his brother. He hates everything about his life. He fucking fights his brother on stage all the time, or at least he used to. And notoriously hates people covering Wonderwall. And then Bring Me the Horizon do a hard rock version of the song Wonderwall. And then within a day, Liam Gallagher comes up and was responding to people's posts about, hey, did you see this? Like, what do you say about this? He's like, I fucking love it.
I'm about to go grab my skateboard.
I'm going to go grab my skateboard. Fuck you. And it's like, what? What?
Yeah. I feel like what's the meme of Robin Williams where he says, "What year is this?" But it's worse. It's like, what universe am I in?
Oh, what? From Jumanji.
Yeah.
What year is this?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't understand Liam Gallagher as a person, and I don't really have any intention to. But my bingo card for 2025 did not include Liam Gallagher openly endorsing a cover of Wonderwall
by Bring Me the Horizon, no less.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're both British, so.
Right. So I got one more piece of news. I know you have one possibly after that, but I think this is something to hit on. For those of you who didn't hear, and again, everybody's going to do this stupid thing. I want to start by saying this. The news is about the band Red, Christian hard rock band, almost like metal bands, like somewhere between Breaking Benjamin and Skillet.
Sure.
And a lot of people are like, who's that? And like trying to be dicks about it. That's the one thing I hate about internet trolls is they specifically try to just trash on people for no reason. Even though Red's a decent band, one person's trying to say they were the Nickelback of Christian rock. I'm like, isn't that Skillet? Red is way heavier than Skillet ever will be.
Red can be heavier. Like, they definitely have that mentality of you have a heavy ass opening to your song, and then it drops to becoming a very mellow song. To the point where it's like,
I was listening to the album Innocence and Instincts the other day because this piece of news came out, and I was like, every fucking song except for the first two songs on this album are ballads.
It was the album after. No, maybe it wasn't after Faceless. There's only one album I really fully love from them front to back. I think it's Of Beauty and Rage.
Feed the Machine, or Of Beauty and Rage is the one with the Black Plague mask on it.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can honestly fully say I do enjoy front to back.
I'm glad you said that because Red just canceled their 10-year anniversary of Beauty and Rage tour. Mm-hmm. And I
wasn't going to go anyway, but
Josh just threw his hat. The funny thing is their lineup was actually pretty good. Like, the people they were going to have supporting them were actually decent acts. Obviously, they have said, quote, due to unforeseen circumstances out of our control, we can't do this, da-da-da-da-da. The funny thing is, which everyone agrees with, including me, it's probably because of low ticket sales. We're seeing a lot of bands nowadays that are just saying they have to cancel tours due to unforeseen circumstances, and those unforeseen circumstances are they aren't going to make money off this tour, so there's no point in going on tour.
Yeah, I mean, there's been who was the band recently that just did? I want to say it was either the one that Blackie Lawless is in. I know that the band that Blackie. Not Wasp. I think it might have just been a solo. I don't fucking know. I think Wasp actually also canceled some shows because they were having low ticket sales. There's another band here recently that talked about they canceled like a whole South America tour because of it was Godsmack. Godsmack canceled a whole South America tour because of low ticket sales.
But they came out and said it. They said, hey, the ticket sales aren't there and there's no point in us coming down there to lose money.
Yeah, like they have a big production. They have a lot of money and a lot of people to bring down there. And if it's only going to have, a 30% capacity out of 100, then what's the point?
Right. But at least they were honest about it. They straight up said, hey, guys, you guys didn't want to come to the show, so there's no point in us flying our entire crew and gear and supporting act down there to not make money.
20 people to show up and not even going to be able to pay for the gas to be driving around.
Right. And so I get that. I just wish bands would be transparent about it. And to be fair, on the same side, there's been a lot of articles and discussions about this lately. Touring has become fucking expensive. Like, astronomically. Inflation's hitting everyone. And if people aren't going to make money, you got to, I mean, again, Red had like 5 supporting acts on this tour. It was like Adelita Sway, Nerve. There was like 5 opening acts. So, when you have that much crew, that many buses, that much gear that you've got to haul around and pay for, and other bands, that might be the other problem. When you bring 5 bands with you, you got to split the tickets somehow.
And all 5 of those bands are going to have people that they bring on tour with them, like guitar techs, drum techs, people that are going to be moving the equipment and setting it all up. Like, that's times 5.
Right. So you can't really, like, if touring, I think we're getting to the point, like, not to be fatalistic, but it feels like we're getting to the point where touring's literally becoming non-profitable unless you're a major act that you're going to sell out the arena.
Right.
Like,
which sucks, but
what?
at the same time, it's like you said, let's be more transparent about it.
Right. Like, hey, if it's becoming to the point where people aren't buying tickets so we can't afford it, then just say that. That's totally okay. Like, I'd be more understanding of that. But yeah, it's just.
I mean, they got to make money too. That's the big thing. Is that this is a job. It's a career. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't go to work every single day and then be told at the end of the day, hey, by the way, you're only going to make like a quarter of what you normally make because 5 other people didn't show up for work or something. And to be like, well, I'm also not going to go to work now because I do this for money. I do this for the fans, but mostly, I need money.
I can't say who all the bands are because this last one I can't read all the way, but it is Red, Adelitas Way, a band called Nerve, and then Kingdom something. It's not Kingdom of Giants. I can't read it because the word's too tiny. But either way, that tour is canceled. So there were 4 bands, right? And Red is technically three guys, and then they have a hired gun as a drummer. So,
right.
Anyway, moving on. I
have my final little bit of news that I didn't tell you about. So, we all love the game Doom, right?
Doom.
I can play it on my potato powering my thermostat.
Right.
So, Doom 2016 had Mick Gordon doing the music for that game. Mick Gordon's a music producer, a music writer in his own way and own right. He did work with Motionless in White, did the entire soundtrack for Doom 2016. Doom Eternal, I believe he did the music for Doom Eternal, but due to a disagreement, basically, and to gloss way over this, a disagreement with Bethesda, they did not release that soundtrack. You can get pieces of it and get pieces of it on YouTube, but the entire album itself is not going to be available because of licensing and Mick Gordon fighting ID Software about it.
Right.
The composer for the new game Doom: The Dark Ages, which is a prequel to Doom 2016, has been revealed to be Finishing Move, who, weirdly enough, is the music production team behind Borderlands 3 and Halo Wars 2.
Uh-oh.
But this music for this game sounds fucking killer already. Right. It sounds like Doom.
Right. Doom, 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 doom. I mean, I think it's going to sound good. I think at this point, here's the hard part, right? The Doom soundtrack is going to sound killer no matter who they have doing it. The problem is that the fans, you and I think a lot of the fans, loved Mick Gordon and loved what he did because it was the first time they did anything like that, and it was original. It's the first time that a video game had a metal soundtrack that was original and like
made for that game.
Like it was an ODST, or am I saying that right? Original soundtrack, OST, for a game of that
You're
style.
thinking of Halo ODST.
And then it didn't help. Like, if he would have just gone or something like that, that would have been one thing. But the way Bethesda got rid of him and the controversy surrounding that really bolstered this whole problem. Like, had they done it
right,
had they done it properly, had they done it smoothly, had they done it in the right intentions, that'd be one thing. But when they went ahead and just did him dirty like that, when the fans were so in love with him, is just bad. Like, bad taste, bad form, bad everything.
So what began as a question about Gordon's involvement in the final mixing of its sequel, Doom Eternal, the feud grew over time, with the composer pointing accusations of unpaid wages at the developer and singling out executive producer Marty Stratton for allegedly abusing behavior, and Bethesda responded saying that Gordon's version of the event as, quote, unjust account of an irreparable professional relationship.
Yeah. So it sounds like...
But...
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the only difference is people like Mick Gordon and not Charlie Sheen, but this sounds like the way that Charlie Sheen got kicked off of 2.5 Men.
Yeah. Yeah, so Doom Eternal has Mick Gordon, but the DLC for Ancient Gods 1 and 2 is somebody else that made it, and now Finishing Move is doing the prequel game Dark Ages, which I believe Bethesda has said that Dark Ages is kicking off a new trilogy of prequel Doom games.
And as long as they don't jump the shark, just don't jump the shark, please, for the love of God.
Oh no, they learned their mistake from Doom Eternal basically being a fucking book that you have to read.
Yeah.
I came here to kill, not to read.
I love Doom Eternal, don't get me wrong, but still.
I don't know. I have my opinions about it, but
yeah.
Dark Ages said that you're going to feel more like an iron tank than a fucking jet fighter.
Right. All right.
Anyways.
You want to hit your album first? Because I feel like we're gonna do more talking about the second album than we are your album.
Mine's not an album, but mine's a collection of 3 singles that have come out from the band Within Destruction. If you don't know Within Destruction, they originally started out as a slam deathcore hybrid band, and in my opinion, I liked them better then. But they're releasing new tracks for their new upcoming album, Animetal, which is anime metal. Because fucking why not?
Why not? Comic books are in. Jocks are out.
So Within Destruction came out with an EP last year that was all based on the game Elden Ring. And they're definitely wearing all of their... What the fuck am I thinking of? They're wearing all of their influence on their sleeves with this new album. The only thing that I will say confuses me is that they had said that they were going to be coming back for deathcore, and
that's
Fraser,
not what
are these songs deathcore?
No, I okay. Let me put it this way: this is right up my friggin' alley. For like one of the first times in podcast history, you sent me an album that I was like, or at least 3 songs that I was like, oh, this be bitchin'. Like this is right up my alley. It's the groovy, super groovy, like. Somewhere between Architects, Wage War, metalcore style with that Japanese flair to it, kind of like Cold Rain has, or Crystal Lake.
Yes. For a band from Austria, which is, again, I love the fact that a band from Austria is becoming a Japanese-influenced metal band. But this is actually supposed to be their first album on Sumerian Records.
It is.
So, this new album comes out April 11th.
Oh no!
The band...
I just made a giant connection. So they're on Sumerian Records, right? Yeah. Who else is on Sumerian Records?
Who isn't on Sumerian Records? Smashing Pumpkins.
Bad Omens. This album, if you really like the song Artificial Suicide, you'll love every single part of these 3 songs. Not that they don't sound exactly like Artificial Suicide, but they have that industrial sound, the really heavy chugging, the groove. It's all there.
Big ass choruses.
It has very massive choruses, which Artificial Suicide did, and it was screaming all the way through. But a great starter, 3 songs. My only hang up with it is the vocals, especially the screams, sound incredibly processed. And I don't mean like auto-tuned like T-Pain. I just mean there's so much effects on the screams and stuff. And maybe that was part of the idea. I could be, missing the mark there. But it literally sounds like, and again, maybe they did this on purpose. One of the songs is called Cyber Girl, and the way I told Josh is like, this is the Mick Gordon version of the Cyberpunk 2077 video game OST. And so those screams sound like they're almost digitized, like they're coming through a radio, kind of, to a degree. Not all the time, but some of the time. Maybe that was completely done on purpose. I can totally see that and be okay with it, but it does kind of, I don't like over-processed vocals, so that's just me.
All right, so let's jump into what you said. So, their third album, Death Wish, was actually mixed and mastered by Will Putney. And that album was a straight-up slam deathcore album. It's also still one of their biggest albums to be released independently. So, 2020 comes around, and they release an album called Yokai, which now implements the electronic elements, implements the clean singing, and also has Jason Richardson on there, who makes another cameo here later. But I love what it says here. This is their most decisive album to date. Some people place it at the top, while the others wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot stick. The only thing that lovers and haters of this album have in common is highly praising the song Sakura, which hosts an amazing solo by Jason Richardson. So, Within Destruction, being the goddamn trolls they are, came out with Lotus in 2022, which it leaned even further into electronic metalcore and clean singing. Clean vocals were the main focus of the band on this album, since they knew this would again spark an outrage from their listeners.
So in other words, they're kind of at this point trolling people that are trying to tell them what to do.
Yeah, like they got their fan base, and now they're saying, all right, this is what we want to do, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Right.
If you like it, great. If you don't, I don't care.
Right.
Within Destruction they've been in my peripheral vision for a while, but more recently, like with the last 2 albums and EP that have come out, they're definitely showing that they can do more than just fucking slams and breeze.
Right.
And the title track, Animetal, is already available as a single. I believe that came out last year.
Yes.
But yes, they have gone from their deathcore era into arguably, I think, a better direction.
I agree. I think it's going to be more successful for them commercially, which I know a lot of metalheads immediately shrink away from that. But again, the band is a business. I think this is going to at least get some eyeballs on them for sure.
Oh yeah, like their last 2 albums I know have gotten a lot of praise. Like their clean singing is really good on this. Their instrumentals on this album are probably going to be just as good as the last 2 albums. I don't know. Just the singles they've released, especially this collection of the 3 singles that came out this last Friday, especially with Cybergirl being the main one. I gotta say, I'm fucking stoked for this album.
Yeah, no, I am too. I think my only concern with it right now is I'm hoping that some of this, because you said that it's going to be like electronic deathcore, I'm hoping some of the other spots on the album, they're going to do a wage war thing and kind of be heavier in other spots of the album. My only concern right now is that maybe these songs start kind of sounding samey, but other than that, I'm liking what I'm hearing so far, and like I said, it's right up my frickin' alley, so it's going to be put on my workout playlist for sure now.
Their album Lotus is probably my favorite one,
besides
Death Wish, because Death Wish is also just a fucking heavy cinder block to the back of your head.
Ooh.
But Lotus is good, and Yokai is really good.
Okay.
But they're definitely just stepping up their game with every album. And like I said, if those 2 albums alone kind of give you a trajectory of what this new album's going to sound like, I mean, it's going to be fucking massive. It's going to be huge, especially with Sumerian backing them now and all those bands that are in that same genre and same vein of music that they're now going to be able to tour and work with.
Right.
Like, these guys are going to fucking blow up now that they have all the pieces lined up on the board to be able to be as big as they possibly can be.
Right. And then finally...
Also, that being said, Ash Avildsen doesn't need more money.
No. And then with that, we are going to wrap up with talking about, unfortunately, an album that I don't know what to say about yet. We're going to talk about All That Remains' new album, Antifragile. I'm going to go first just because I have the controversial opinion. I don't know what to make of this album yet. Unfortunately, I've only had 2 days to sit with it, other than the 3 or 4 singles they've dropped.
I believe it was 4 so far.
Yeah, 4. They had Divine, No Tomorrow. Those are the only 2. See, this is the problem, is those are the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head. So here's what I'll say. I'm shelving my opinion for now. I will probably give a new opinion, an official rating on it in the next week or 2 on the podcast. I'll have Josh remind me. My problem right now is I'm going to put a question mark on it, and that's not because it's a bad album or that it sounds wrong. It's because most of the time when I'm listening to these, I'm listening to them while I'm at work, and I'm also thinking and doing other things. But that also puts me in the mindset of if something jumps out, I'll hear it because I'll be like, ooh, that's cool. The only 2 songs that really ever stood out to me so far are Divine, which is a good track, but not super amazing. And then No Tomorrow, which I thought was going to have an amazing song, and it starts out with a super cool riff, and then it just drops into like half a ballad almost. And it made me really disappointed that it wasn't heavy. Like I was expecting like a Fit for a King style song where they start out with a really cool riff and then just drop the hammer on you.
So the singles that were released were Divine, Let You Go, No Tomorrow, and Forever Cold.
And Forever Cold, actually I really like, believe it or not, because it starts out really slow and then it kicks in. But with that being said, again, I'm going to shelve my opinion because nothing's jumped out to me on this album yet. And I've listened to it about once and a half, 2 times. I still think it needs to grow on me. I don't think at all it's a bad album. I think it's one of All That Remains is better albums for sure. I just haven't found anything that makes me like jump out of my seat and get super excited for it yet, and I just need more time with it.
Well, I say that your opinion is wrong.
Everybody can say my opinion's wrong. That's okay.
That's fine. I'm hit and miss with All That Remains. My last album that I think really stood out to me was their album For We Are Many. And I believe that was 2010 when that album came out.
You didn't like the Victim of a New Disease?
I only like a couple songs on that album because it definitely suffers from that mentality of super heavy and then dropping to radio rock.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the album opens and closes with some of the heaviest stuff they put out in a long time, but everything in the middle is what I expect on rock radio.
Exactly. Yep, I 100% agree.
So, For We Are Many. Wait, yeah. Oh no, For We Are Many. Yeah, okay. So yeah,
Overcome.
I'm way back there.
Overcome was first, and then For We Are Many, and I think For We Are Many came out in 2011.
For We Are Many came out in 2010, so we're a little behind the times. Yeah. Victim of the New Disease was good, but it wasn't as good as this album.
A War You Cannot Win had some good songs on it, but it was total radio friendly the whole way through.
That whole album was a radio rock album, and I do not listen to it. Order of Things was arguably better, but then you followed up with Madness, which is again another radio rock album.
Right.
And they just kind of just bounce around with their sound, but they don't go back. Like, they're obviously never going to go back to their first albums.
Yeah, they're not going to go back to The Falling.
No, and right now their bass player is actually
The Fall of Ideals. I don't know why I call it The Falling. The Fall of Ideals.
Fall of Ideals. What's funny is that they kind of lined up everything to have a heavier album. Jason Richardson's on guitar on this album as a full-time member after Ollie Herbert died. Oh, God, it's been years now.
It's been 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I'll look it up really quick to make sure we don't disrespect the dead.
So they've had a bad run of bass players ever since.
Oh, dude, it's been 6 years.
Oh, yeah, see, about 6 years.
6 years and 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, because Victim of the New Disease was his last contribution to All That Remains before he died.
Yeah.
So I think he died before that album ever even came out.
And Phil has said that they've been stuck in litigation going back and forth since Oliver's death.
Yeah. So, but Antifragile not only has Jason Richardson as a full-time member of All That Remains and implementing his style, their bass player actually was their bass player from This Darkened Heart from 2004.
Right.
So he rejoined the band. So everything kind of set up, I feel like, to put out a heavier album in a way. But this album, it feels like a good starting point to get back into their heavier stuff. And at the same time, you can 100% tell that Jason Richardson had a lot of push into this album.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ollie was the main songwriter, and you can tell that they brought in Jason to be the main songwriter.
Right, because he did production on this album as well. All lyrics are written by Phil Labonte and Josh Wilbur. All music is composed by the band. And Jason Richardson also did the programming, synthesizer, and engineering on this album.
Right.
I feel like this album was it was a lot better than I expected it to be.
Right, I agree with that. It's just nothing's grabbing me. It's not that something's bad. It's not that it's bad. It's that nothing yet has grabbed me. But again, I've only had 2 days with it other than the 4 singles. And I need to sit. Right. I need to sit down with it.
And like I said, my last album I really got into was For We Are Many, and that was literally 5 albums ago.
Right.
So I'm excited to see where they go from here, and especially with Jason on guitar, and if Jason's going to continue doing his own solo stuff, or if this is just going to be what he does now.
Right.
Because Jason Richardson, if you guys don't know, also has solo albums. He does production for a lot of different bands. He does
touring,
guest spots on other different stuff, and he just does a lot of stuff in the music world to be able to be locked down to one band. So it may be one of those things where maybe he doesn't stay forever, or he does his time with the band and moves on. But I know that he was given a full-time position within the band.
I think he's going to stay here because this is a good way to solidify his career and make money without having to worry about money. Like, this is a good way for him to make income without having, like, this is his, like, main job now, and now he can do all his other side projects without having to worry about money.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think that maybe, like, you're right. Like, this is, like, a good starting point, and I hope later they push him to go heavier and heavier.
Yeah, because, I mean, he also worked with... He was in Born of Osiris. He went to Chelsea Grin. At age 17, he toured with All Shall Perish as a touring member, and he's done a lot of work throughout the music world, and obviously can be very tight and very technical and very heavy. So I wonder if maybe we're going to start seeing that more out of All That Remains. It's just going to be more of a question of if Phil is going to be able to keep up with his vocals on doing a heavier technical All That Remains back as like Overcome style.
I say that might be the other problem is, keep in mind, Phil is getting older. Doing screams forever isn't going to be perfect, isn't going to be easy.
Right.
So,
I think this album is good. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely bumped this album probably 2 or 3 times on Friday, and then about half the tracks are on my playlist that I listen to every day.
Right.
And are in regular rotation. So,
right.
I think this is probably their best album since probably Overcome.
I agree. Well, since For We Are Many, at least.
Right. For We Are Many still had some of its flaws, but the tight technical aspect was kind of lost since Overcome.
Right. All right.
So yeah.
With that,
I liked it. I thought it was good.
What do you give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I mean, there's still pieces of it that don't sit with me as much as the rest of the songs. Fraser's convinced they ripped off the song Doomsday by Architects.
The opening line to the Piper is Doomsday by Architects. It's just in drop C. No one's going to argue with me on that.
I'm not going to say he's right, but I'm not going to say he's wrong either.
So, with that, I will get more of a review here in the next week or two as I get to listen to this album and actually take time with it. Thank you for listening to Dissonant Harmonics Podcast. We love y'all. I have been Fraser.
I don't love you, but I definitely like you guys. And I'm Josh.
And we will catch you later.